Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome one and welcome all to We Are One, the talk show with your girl, Angie Fox. Hey, call your neighbors, call your friends, call everybody that you know and tell them to tune in now and stay tuned in to the number one empowerment platform in the land. That's right. That's www.womeninspirationalradio.org and also the empowermentpodcastnetwork.com. We Are One is here for you. A safe place where we come together and talk about how to overcome depression and even suicidal mentality. So again, I say, welcome, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, it's your girl Angie Fox in the house, and I am happy to be with my very special guest today. Our topic this week is part one of an entire series. We don't know if the series will be 4 parts, 5 parts. We just don't know. We're just going to keep it going until we get to the end, whenever that is. But today, I say thank you all for tuning in to the number one platform in all the land, Empowerment Podcast Network. Call your neighbors, tell everybody that my special guest is in the house and he is anxious to talk. And we are excited to have with us none other than Mr. Roderick Desmond, AKA Dread, AKA Seymour, AKA The Prescription, and my favorite, AKA Boss Man. Welcome, Roderick. How are you?
I'm great today. Great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us. We are here today. We want to just jump right in and we're going to go through and flow through with our show today. Here on We Are One, our first segment, I'm going to go ahead and call it Seymour, because that's what I call it. Our first segment, Seymour, is Uplifting Moment. So in a way of trying to uplift our people and encourage and motivate our people, our uplifting moment is very, very simple. We want you all to come on and come in agreement with us and stop watering down the truth of you. I like that.
Yeah.
I tell you why I like it.
Don't water it down.
Don't water it down, because you know what? Nobody knows you better than you know yourself, and nobody knows your truth better than you know your truth.
Yeah.
You know, as a woman of God, I've spoken several messages on the truth versus the facts, meaning God's truth of his word versus the facts, which is our circumstances. But today, in this sense, I want to talk to you about our truth and how we stand and how we represent ourselves to the public, to the world, to all those that encounter us.
Yeah.
You know?
That's great.
I like people to see me now when I go places and recognize me and I'm gonna be honest, I like it when people say, "Oh, she got it going on. You bad girl, you know, you doing your thing. I heard of you," right?
Exactly.
But the truth is, that's not who I always have been.
Exactly.
And sometimes we don't want the world to know that we have a past.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
And a lot of people need to know the real past, not the watered down past.
Not the watered
or
down.
the fake past.
There you go. That past that you look at me and think that who I am today is just who I am and how I got here. You don't even know the story.
Yeah.
You know, and I find out, Seymour, that when we represent ourselves that way in that fake past, that fake history, and just look at who I am now, don't worry about where I came from, I find that we help less people that way.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You do. And you know, it goes both ways, you know, because sometimes if they run into people that actually know your true story, then it tampers with the whole situation. You lose the audience.
It's possible, yeah. Because somebody knows where I came from.
Exactly.
Somebody knows that hoochie mama I used to be. Somebody knows that cussing machine that I used to be. Somebody knows that chick that used to carry a blade and couldn't fight but would threaten your life every other day. You know, somebody knows that chick. Somebody knows that one that didn't care about anybody else, not even herself. So that young lady that meets me, that is just like I was.
Exactly.
Doesn't think she can become any better because she only sees the me now, and I never told her about the me then.
Yeah, you got to give her
what she
a
can
blueprint.
become.
You have to give her a blueprint. And
I
too
like
many
it.
people are hiding the blueprint.
That's it.
And they should have a real blueprint.
A real blueprint,
The
not
real
that made
blueprint.
up thing you
Not
went
the
behind
made
the
up.
closed doors and drew up.
Exactly.
Yeah, the
Not
one that
you
looks
was
good.
born with a silver spoon in your mouth. And
Yeah,
you gotta make up a story that you was homeless and you did this. And
yeah.
You did that. Yeah. It's time
true.
to give them the truth.
That's right. So stop watering down the truth of you. And that's our uplifting moment. We want you to take that with you, and we hope it has helped you in some way, but stop watering down the truth and give people, as my brother just said, the real blueprint. The real blueprint. And we're going to move right on to our next segment. Now, our next segment is our hottest topic that's trending now. Now, I'll be honest with you, Seymour. I had a little difficulty trying to find a hot topic that I felt would fit into what we're talking about now. I did. I struggled with that a bit. But then I thought about, while we're talking about the truth of you and real talk, you know, getting into your story, I wanted to talk about something that some may not agree with me on. Many may not even agree with my take on this, but it's the truth per Bishop T.D. Jakes. It's how he views women. And I saw the video of Rusty Moore. I saw the video, and it was not to go verbatim, but the video indicated or implied, probably actually stated from Bishop T.D. Jakes that women are aggressive and hard and mean, and we're so busy fighting and doing our thing to prove that we don't need a man. You know, and in his message, he said these words: I know you can buy your own car. I know you can buy your own house. I know you can pay your own bills, but I need to feel needed so that I can pour into and fit into your life. And I was like, wow. And what ended up happening, and what's happening now, is that a whole lot of women have began clapping back negatively because they weren't happy with that. They don't like his view on that. They don't see themselves that way. And they're fighting back against what he said rather than come in agreement with what he said.
Was it offensive?
I think for some they may have been or may be offended. But as a woman, and this is going to sound crazy, as a woman who understands the struggle and know that it's real, as a woman who got married at a very early age, a 17-year teenager, and divorced at 32 with 5 children, and had to go through some things to be able to make it. As a woman who ended up in a second marriage that I'm currently in with a man who can provide and take care of me, not just financially, but even emotionally, and is strong for me and there for me, I had to understand and realize, and I do, that I agree with Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Yeah.
That's a woman. I'm a woman, all women. And I am not a woman who says, I'm so independent, I don't need a man. I know I'm going to lose some women because you know what? And I know you know this because you've been around long enough. There are women that are proud to say, I don't need a man because they're doing it for themselves.
Well, yeah, they doing it for themselves, but they can't do it all by themselves.
Can't do it all.
No, because a woman can't make a kid. If a woman feels like she can do it by herself, then her whole generation stops with her.
With her.
Because one, it takes 2 to make 3.
That's it.
And 1 can't make 3. It doesn't work like that. So if you're a woman and you think you can do it by yourself, then your life is going to die right there. That's it.
It ends
your
with
whole history, everything ends with you.
That's it. And I even go further than that. I would say, as a woman, and I'm speaking to other women and all of you strong women who are paying your own bills and making your own way and providing for yourself or even for your families. I agree with T.D. Jakes because he said something that I found to be very profound in this interview, in this video. And he said, I know you can do it because we hurt you, because we let you down. He was acknowledging and accepting the responsibility of the men who have walked away from these women that caused them to have to be strong head of households, doing it for themselves and not being able to depend on the man or men in their lives. He accepted that responsibility as a way of understanding why some women have that mindset, right? And I've said it a time or two myself, but and this is the funny part, Russ Seymour. Let me tell you what I started saying in the latter years. I've done it after my divorce from my first husband, and I did the struggling and work and paid the bills and had to provide for my 5 kids and all that, right? But I declare I have nowhere to put these strong, independent. I am not that strong, independent woman. I used to say it when I had to do it. And then after I got with my current husband and realized how much better life can be when you got somebody with you that you can lean on and depend on, and got your back, that can cover you and that can carry you through some things and help you. I'm like, I don't want to pay these bills by myself. I don't want to do this anymore. Later, for that strong, independent woman, I'm not against the fight that our 4 sisters have gone through so that we can be equals, but I am not trying to be equal with you, my brother.
I would like to add this. Did you ever met an independent woman?
I've never met a woman, no matter how strong, that has accomplished everything that she's done, what she has or is doing, and can honestly say she's done it by herself.
So is it really?
And I'm talking about with a man, not just with other sisters.
So the definition, independent, she's an independent woman, but she had to have help.
Had to have help.
Doing it.
That's it.
In some way. So do that makes her independent?
That makes all of us dependent upon someone other than ourselves.
So they're getting it messed up.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And not just the women, men and all.
And brothers, stop leaving these women as heads of household and feeling that they have to do it by themselves when you can pour into them and be there for them. Because we need more than your wallet.
But listen, hold on. But it starts with the women. It starts with the women. If the women don't accept
the
knuckleheads, then it will make the knuckleheads grow up
and
be men. Because just because you born with the attributes of a man, that don't make you a man.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So if the women, not just women, females, if you stop accepting these kind of guys, then it will make these guys step their game up. But now if you accept these guys, then
they have no reason to change.
What reason would they have to change? So now you accept them for 5 months or you accept them for a year. And then one day a light bulb goes off in your head and you say, I want better.
Yeah.
But then today you want to change, but you had a whole year of this man creating a habit of being a 0. So now you need this 0 to turn into 100 overnight. It's not going to happen. So you want your real time to become his real time when for a whole year or a whole 6 months or a whole whatever, y'all been doing good being 2 zeros.
Time for a change.
Time for a change. So it starts with the woman. Don't accept us. Don't accept men. Don't accept boys that not doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So it takes more than just a night at the club and you say, this guy, I like him, or you see him racing around in the Challenger or the Charger or something, and you say, oh, that's who I want my baby daddy to be. No, that it doesn't work like that.
Right.
Yeah. So you mold it. You make the blueprint.
I like that. Y'all heard it here from Russ Seymour, a man himself. And y'all heard the talk. So that is our hot topic for today. Do you agree or disagree with Bishop T.D. Jakes or anything that we've said today? Hit us up and let us know. Guess what? You can email us at womeninspirationalradio2@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on our YouTube channel and let us know what you think about this topic. Thank you. We look to hear from you. Now, we're going to get right into the hot topic for today. The reason for our guest being with us today, and I'm so honored, and I'm tickled pink to have him here because I pride myself on keeping it real. I know we say that, and I'm keeping it real and 100 with my wig on. Right? This is not my hair, right? This is not my hair at all. So
You paid for it.
I know, right? So I bought it. So we're going to keep it real because real talk means a whole lot. And one of the things that we said, as we said in our uplifting moment, is we're not, or we are attempting, should I say, to stop watering down the truth, to speak the truth, real talk. And it gave me a boost of energy, a pleasure, if you want to call it that, to be able to bring you in as my special guest today, Preston Moore, because I got to know you. I met you, what, the year before last, maybe 21? Yeah, sometime in 21. And I didn't get to know you. You know, we encountered each other, we crossed paths through the church, and one of your businesses I was able to benefit from. And in the process of doing so,
we began to,
yeah.
Tell exactly. The truth, we bump heads.
And there were some things that you said to me in a conversation that would be considered prophetic, if I may be real with you. And I didn't want to accept some things that you said because I'm like, this part doesn't know me. Who's he talking to? He got it all twisted. And then everything that you said to me in the conversation actually came to pass. Well, our paths continued to cross because I still needed your services from one of your businesses. And then we had a conversation recently about who Roderick Desmond, AKA Seymour, AKA Dread, AKA Boss Man, really is. You began to talk to me and show me your blueprint.
Exactly.
Your real blueprint. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, I didn't know you were rolling like that. So will you come on my show and be a guest, and let's talk about the real transformation from drug dealer to boss man. Oh, you heard it. I said it, from drug dealer to boss man. This brother right here is sitting with me today, and I'm honored to have him before us all. And I'm going to ask you your first question. Who is boss man? Dread.
Seymour.
Roderick Desmond.
Well, the real answer would really have to come from the people who I am, the real answer. But the true answer is, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an octopus. I got many arms.
Yeah.
And who I am right now and who I was, it's two different stories. But at this present moment, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in South Sumter. I own a couple of businesses, and I'm here serving my community.
Now y'all heard him say it, right? I'm here serving my community. Now you can't just say something like that to somebody like me and not mean it. But that's who he said. He defined himself as an entrepreneur, a man who is serving his community. Exactly. So we could dive right into that and dig into his blueprint.
I'll open up a can.
You opened it up, and we're gonna walk right in. That's right. So I prepared some questions. Most of you, if you've been following me, you know that I normally just ad lib and I just wing it. I come from the hip, and I never have questions prepared ahead of time. But I am endeavoring to improve my delivery with We Are One on this platform, this awesome empowerment platform. So we went over I sent some questions to him because I wanted to get a little deeper into who he really is, because it's going to speak volumes to what we have to do as a people, individually, one person at a time, one man at a time, one woman at a time, to actually serve those in our communities. So the first question I have for you, Seymour, is simply this.
What asking Seymour,
motivated
Dread,
you?
or
I'm asking Seymour, Dread, Boss Man, Roger Desmond, all of them.
Those are different people.
Yeah, well, you will decide who answers. Okay. So I'm going to ask the question. What motivated you to leave the drug game? Now, you can tell us how long you've been in the drug game, to what level or extent you did this thing, sold drugs. But I want to know, the people want to know, what motivated you to leave the drug game?
Honestly, a lady that was born in 1947, which is my mother, Helen Desmond. That's what motivated me to leave. My brother, Eric Desmond, he motivated me to leave. My sister, Angela Copeland Desmond, she motivated me to leave. Those are the people that motivated me to leave. I wanted better. I wanted to make my mother happy. My brother was following my footsteps. My sister already was in prison, and I wanted to make my mother happy.
Yeah. And that's what motivated you to leave.
That's what motivated me to leave. I had to find something to love more than I love myself.
Okay.
Mm.
That's the part I wanted to hear.
Exactly.
Because there are many people that are leading destructive lives, are doing things that may cause destruction in other lives, beyond drug dealing, but including drug dealing, that they don't consider the ones that they love the most and how it affects them. And it doesn't become the catalyst, if you will, to make them leave the game. And I can only imagine, based on the man that I've met, that you were pretty successful in that you made money, because that's the ultimate, that's the goal, is to make this money and make it, quick. But so I would only assume, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, that you made good money in it.
Yes, ma'am.
And you gave it up because you realized that it was affecting those that you love even more than you love yourself.
Exactly. It was affecting the generation, really.
Yeah.
It was affecting the generation. And that's the way we should look at it.
Yeah.
We having fun, but that fun that we having is, it find people it's people that looks up to you.
Right.
That's gonna follow in your footsteps. And so you really killing the generation from you having fun, just having fun. And it don't last. It doesn't last. No, it don't last. You could either be robbed, you could be killed, or you can go to jail, or you can go crazy. And all get rich. But you see, you got 4 things that can happen that's bad compared to that one thing.
And even if you get rich, it's still, there's no peace. I can go by what I've heard from other people or seen on television. There's no peace there. You have to always be watching your back.
Gotta be watching your back. If you get it quick, it can go quick. Yeah.
And I thank you for sharing that, because I need to know, if you're in the drug game and you making money and you're, I guess, I don't know if you call it climbing the ladder or whatever it is, and you're getting the riches that you went after, and then you got to have something that will tell you, this is not the way I want to go. And you said it very profoundly and very great. It was affecting the generations.
Yeah.
Your neighborhood, your family.
My neighborhood. Yeah.
So thank you for loving your mom and your family and your community more than you love yourself.
Yeah, I had to. I couldn't find love in me, so I had to find a reason to love. Yeah.
So how did you go from dealing drugs in your community to becoming a positive role model for others in your same community? Talk to us about that, because so many people move on or move out of the neighborhoods or just hang out in the community where they sell drugs, but don't live in the community. And they certainly don't come back to the community. You will tell us about that. How do you go from
I thought you were talking about the preachers. That's another subject. When you were saying they be in the neighborhood and don't do anything for the neighborhood, I thought you were talking about the preachers.
That's a whole nother story. We're going to talk about that piece too. Yes.
You got this big church in the drug dealing neighborhood,
but you don't come outside and let us see.
We outside all the time.
Shame on us for that.
Yeah.
But you yourself, you sold drugs in your community where you live. That was one of the communities where you sold drugs.
Yeah, that was one of the communities.
And you got out of the drug game and became a positive role model in that same community.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to us about how in the world did that transformation take place?
Well, I guess it takes a whole lot of old people praying.
Don't forget those old mothers. Yes, we need them praying.
It takes a lot of old people praying.
Yes.
But some people gave me an opportunity to mold me into doing right, and really, I would like to say this to anybody out there who can help anybody who's trying to make a transformation. Try to do something to help them. Try to do something to help them. And these people, really, if I could say their names, is Miss Sandy People and
Okay.
Mr. Sandy Peoples and Miss Sandra Peoples. They had a little store on Carver Street. And they gave me the opportunity to go back in that store when they leave and they say, here, you go there and you work the cash register while we gone. So I left the drugs alone and I went back there and I worked that little cash register in that little corner. And they gave me my little pay at the end of the day. And they gave me a chance to see something different. It wasn't a lot, but then it gave me a reason not to want to disappoint them.
Right.
So then I started doing right. And their father, the old man, Mr. Peoples, he used to call me Scoop. He never would say my name right. He said, you know, Scoop. he said, you know, Scoop, since you went to jail, we can kind of drive up to the house now. Because before you went to jail, we couldn't sift our way. We had to sift our way to the yard because so many people would be standing out here. And he just talking, but he really hurt my feelings so bad by saying it. Not knowing, but it really hurt my feelings.
But you heard it.
But I heard it. So by me going to jail, it just changed the whole neighborhood when I decided to change. So people was able to go down the block. So
before you were arrested and gave up the drug game, sounds to me like you were like a menace to society in that neighborhood, or one to be feared.
Well, I was a fugitive from justice. I was a fugitive for 5 years and 9 months, almost 6 years. I was on the run from drugs and firearm charges. Yeah.
Oh, so you were trying to avoid that jail time, the penalty for what you were doing.
Yeah.
So
I was on the run. Yeah.
And that also affected your community.
Exactly. I mean, it's some people that said they hate to come down the block. It was so many people we had doing wrong on the block. I remember the cops, when they locked me up, they said, we just made check marks on the houses that wasn't doing wrong because it was so
many that were
doing wrong. They was really kind of
Oh wow. Oh wow, that's deep.
Yeah, we messed the whole community up.
So as a leader and entrepreneur in South Sumter, South Carolina, where we are right now, what is your greatest inspiration and motivation that keeps you helping to change the hearts and minds of the young people in the community where you live?
Oh, that's a good one. And it's easy. That's really a good one. And it's an easy answer. What makes the answer easy is you have to be in the neighborhood.
Right.
See, by being in the, I live in the neighborhood. So when I open up my door, that's my answer.
Wow.
When I open up the door, that's the answer. I see the kids. I see what's going on. I see the kids running around. When I go to the corner store, I see a young me developing. So then it gives me a moment to say to them and try to give them something different. See, you can tell a kid, stop selling drugs, but if you don't have nothing to replace it with, then we have a problem. So if we as entrepreneurs create some type of job for these upcoming drug dealers, then they can replace what they're doing.
The negative.
Yeah.
Give them something to replace.
You can't just tell them to stop.
Yeah.
You can say it, but it's not going to work because you got to replace what they're making.
So you went from being a menace that helping to destroy the community to coming out from jail once you stop running, to come out and change and be able to impact the neighborhood positively by giving the young kids that look like you, that out doing what you used to do, something else to replace, something else to see, something else to thrive, to be like. So they look at you and now they listen to you because you've given them options of what they can be and become and do versus selling drugs and destroying themselves in the process.
Exactly.
So the kids, needless to say, respect you.
Yeah, they respect me because I stop. I have time for them. I stop, I talk to them, they come to my house, we work on their bicycles, we fix bicycles.
So that's the answer to the next question. You went right into it. How does Boss Man serve his community?
Now that's the question you could ask the community, and they could really go on. And that's where I got the name Boss Man from, because I would give the kids something to do. I always give them something to do. You know, they come by, I will give them $5. Here, you take this $5, you take $1, you take $1, you take $1. Bring my $2 back. And they will come back knocking on the door, and they got the money in their hand. And I said, y'all still got the $5. Oh, we had tax, and we didn't want to take your $2. So in that way, you teaching them how to count. You teaching them how to be responsible.
Yeah.
So then I give them all 35 cents a piece to go with the dollar.
Yeah.
And then they go to the store and they come back and they have their stuff and then they move on, you know, but you gotta give the kids something. You gotta feed them. If you don't feed them, they're not coming. They're not coming around you. And then when you feeding them something, then you can feed them a little wisdom at the same time. Yeah, because there's no telling what their parents told them.
Right.
See, their parents glorified you being that drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the stories that they heard about you.
Right.
But now when the same guy that their parents glorified is now in the hood doing something positive, now they get to see it's life after death.
Life after death. I love it.
Life after death.
Yes. And they can choose the positive path for their lives and not have to go down the same road that you went down.
Exactly. See, I'm gonna make it easy for you.
Yeah.
I've been through it. So you don't have to.
That's what I'm talking about.
Just take off running from right where I ended it. Take off running from here.
You shared a story with me a few days ago. You said there's a young girl in the neighborhood, and you had an old bike in your yard, and you fixed it up and all that, and you gave it to her, and her mom bought her a new bike, and the mom came to you because she won't ride the new bike. She wants to ride the bike that Boss Man gave her. We
took the bike out of the mother bought the bike for Christmas, and it needed air in the tire. And her little brother was riding a bike, and she said her bike needed air in the tire. So I took a bike off the trash pile, took some oil and put on the chain, and she rode that bike. And she will not ride her brand new bike. So her and her brother was fussing over the bike because Boss Man gave them the bike. So they fussed over the bike. After they fussed over the bike, the little boy would take the seat.
Yeah.
So she took the seat off of her new bike
and put it on
the old bike.
And I love it. But you know, that spoke volumes because what that says is they look up to you.
Yeah.
They don't just respect you, they love you, they look up to you, and they know that you genuinely love them back. Yeah. And that's key because children know when they're loved. And when you can turn the environment around in your community. See, it's easy for us to go on TV or Facebook or other platforms and be who we are, all shiny and polished up, right? And make everybody who don't know us think we're doing so much in the world. And that's one thing. But it's something else when you can go back to home, where you're from, where everybody knows your name, and show them the new transformed you. And then top it off with doing the work and doing the positive things and serving the community. Yeah. So the horror stories that these children's parents and maybe even some grandparents can tell because of what they experienced in their faces, right in their, like how the word says, he'll prepare a table for you, right in the presence of those who know your blueprint, your history. God used you to be an example and a light in that neighborhood.
I'm there, in the hood.
Right there.
In the hood.
Serving your
community. There. Everything going on. When they fighting, I'm there. When they shooting, I'm there. When they selling drugs, I'm there.
Making your presence known and showing
them my presence known. And they respect me. You know, I get a whole lot of respect, not because I'm some bad guy, nothing, but I get respect because I talk to everybody, shake everybody's hands, and I give everybody an option. I go to the store, I might be there 10 minutes talking, and they sit and and they listen.
Right.
The kids, I'm in the yard, they don't even want to ride their bikes. They want to come and they want to sit and they want to talk. And everybody's on the birds, the cats, everybody can come. But I want to add this. I get a lot from the kids because the kids is what keeps me going. I couldn't make it without the kids.
You love the kids. You get as much from the kids as the kids got from you.
I get a lot from the kids, you know, and because you want to do right, you don't want to disappoint. That's something that you don't want to do. You don't want to disappoint the kids. And my biggest thing is I don't want their parents to say, I told you so. Yeah. I told you so. So, you know, the kids help me. They help to keep me straight. Iron sharpens iron.
I love that. And you don't hear that very often where you see adults giving credit and that back to the children. Because they give us, the young people give us as much as we give them. And we just need to recognize it and acknowledge it, you know, because we need them too.
We need them.
And that leads us to our final question. Now, my final question was, what advice would you give to young boys and girls to have that happy, good life that you're living now? But I want to change that a bit. And I want to know, what advice would you give to these other adults out there who are in these communities and leaving them? You know, they're leaving you said, you started it. You said there, you thought I was talking about pastors when I asked that question earlier. We've got leaders in our community, leaders in spiritual leaders. We've got community leaders. We've got civic, local government leaders and all that in our communities. And when we talk about, not just here, all of our communities, but we're talking right now about the community where you serve, boss man.
South
Our young people, South Sumter. What advice would you give to other leaders and adults in our community who have moved on and left the community or staying in the community, but your presence is not known? What advice would you give them right now?
Well, I want to say this first before I give the advice. I remember I heard, and I'm not really too good with politics and everything, and I'm not too good with elections, but I heard Jim Carver one time, he said this. He said him and his father was traveling down the street and he seen a stick in the road. And he told his father, he said, Father, somebody need to move that stick. And his father said, well, Jim, you are somebody. He said, you are somebody. And I laughed about it because I said, man, he won the election with that. And I don't know if that all it took to win the election, but you gotta first become somebody and know that you're somebody. And so now to really get on what you're talking about with the community and what advice, I live around 4 churches, about 4. I'm not gonna call the name of them, but it's about 4 churches in my neighborhood. I'm something in Atlanta, you know. I've never seen those people in the neighborhood. You know, and it's something that you in your car, right, and leave your house wherever it's at and drive to the church through these drug dealers, through these kids, through prostitution, through whatever is going on in the neighborhood. And you pull in and people from all over come to this neighborhood and they pass by the same stuff. And then you go and you preach a sermon. And after you finish preaching the sermon, you jump back in your car and you pass by these same drug dealers, these same people, and leave them. You never come to the neighborhood and say anything. Y'all should change. One Sunday, just get out there and march and say y'all should change.
Bring the church outside. Have service outside. Let them hear the word.
It will do something. And I believe it will do something because, again, I'll say, I stood on the corner of Purdy and Barker Street, sold drugs. It was a little church there. And I remember the same God placed him in my life on Sandy Peoples. He would drive the van and he would stop. He said, man, y'all standing here all the time. Go in the church. Go in the church. He said, if y'all don't want to walk, get in the van. I'll pull you in the yard. He did it every time he seen us to where we would dodge him. And that was in the 90s.
Yeah.
I never ever had it happen again. And I know I've been on those streets from the 90s up into 2004. By churches, in neighborhoods, all different neighborhoods, on the south side, the west side. Nobody ever repeated what that man did.
Let me tell y'all what his advice is. To all of you listening and all of you, be the somebody to make the change in your community. If your church is in these communities, come out from amongst the four walls and let's touch the lives of the people. It's not enough for us to just go to church and sit up in church, waiting for people who don't go to church to come to your church. It's time for us to come out. And for all of those of us who are out there saying we are influencers and we are entrepreneurs and we this and we're that, go into these communities and talk to these young people and these older people that are in their houses that don't come out. These people who live in neighborhoods where they were terrorized, but they don't know that things have changed. We have to be the change that we want to see. And it starts with these communities that we're driving by, but we refuse to come out the door. So that's his advice from all of us right here on We Are One and Empowerment Podcast Network. And I want to thank you for being with us today. Thank you, my brother, for sitting with us today. This was just part one. Trust me, he's coming back. He's got, in the words of Clubber Lang, a lot of more to tell every one of you. We're going to continue to talk, real talk, the truth from drug dealer to boss man. Love you. Thank God for you. Thank you for being with us. And we look forward to coming back together, same time, same place, part 2. Empowerment Podcast Network. Love you, girl. Love you, guys. Love you all. Holla at you, girl.
God first.
You've just been listening to We Are One with your girl, Angie. Thanks for rolling with me today. Come back every Monday at 12 noon for more on overcoming depression and a suicidal mentality.